everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen once again. And I apologize for not having a fancy introduction, but you know, we just can't be Lucille Ball every week. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this gluten-free, flour-free, low-carb pizza dough. And this is actually a basic dough recipe that a lot of low-carb, keto people make, and you can turn this into so many different things. But the basic recipe is called Fathead Dough. If you look that up on the internet, you will find like a bazillion different recipes using this dough. I know fathead sounds like I probably don't really want to eat something called fathead, but trust me, this is delicious. You will not be sorry if you try this recipe and make your own pizza. It only takes 4 ingredients and it's so easy to make. The main ingredients are mozzarella cheese, cream cheese, almond flour, and an egg or 2 eggs. I'm going to be doubling this recipe. The recipe I'm using today is coming from the website called ditchthecarbs.com, and I have left a link to that in the description box. I doubled the recipe that's on their website because I figure, if you're gonna go through all the work of making a pizza crust, you might as well make a lot of it, make a big one. This pizza stores really well in the fridge, it heats up really well, so go ahead and make extra if you're going to make it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you need is 3 cups of mozzarella and a half a block of cream cheese. And you're going to microwave this for about maybe 45 seconds to a minute. Really depends on the power of your microwave. Just keep checking it. Microwave it for like 30 seconds. Check it, stir it, microwave it for a little bit more. What you're looking for is for the cream cheese and the mozzarella to all melt, and you're gonna stir it and it's gonna turn into this delightful blob of cheese. Okay, so I'm gonna go microwave this, and I'll meet you right back here in about 45 seconds. Alright, this is what it looks like after a minute in the microwave, and you can see that it is starting to melt, but it's definitely not melted enough. I need to get that block of cream cheese melted. It does help a little bit if you break it up. Probably should have done that. And maybe let it come to room temperature ahead of time if you have that kind of time to wait. I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. Alright, so this was a minute and a half for 3 cups of mozzarella cheese and a half a block of cream cheese. The original recipe calls for 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella and 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. I'm doubling that, but I'm also adding extra cream cheese because, it's cream cheese and yum. You kind of have to work fast with this as it's melting. This spoon is a little bit too flexible. I'm going to switch over to a wooden spoon here. Anyway, as you can see, it is just like a ball of melted cheese. I'm going to try to mix that up, get it all incorporated. It is thick. It is very thick. It takes a little bit of elbow grease for this part. Alright, to this melted mozzarella cheese and cream cheese mixture, I'm going to be adding 1.5 cups of almond flour, and I think you can use coconut flour if you wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and put this, wait a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put all that in, maybe about half of it. And also, I'm going to need 2 eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and put in, I'll do one of those at a time. And basically, you're just mixing the heck out of this thing till all of the ingredients are incorporated. It is a very sticky dough, so do not expect this to be like a regular pizza dough or bread dough. It's not it's not gonna work exactly, it's not gonna feel exactly the same. I mean, you gotta beat the heck out of this thing to get all of the ingredients mixed in. Probably a mixer would probably work. I was too lazy to get that out, so I am just going to do it by hand. Do it the old-fashioned way. This is the basic dough. Now with this dough you can do a ton of different things. I've seen recipes for cinnamon rolls, for calzones, for crackers, for just bread. I mean, you can do, oh, bagels I've seen. You can do a lot of stuff with this basic dough. But because it is a pizza that I am making with it, I'm gonna add some seasonings to it so it tastes more like a pizza. To this dough, I have added Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. So I put everything together here in this little bowl. It is a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of the onion powder, the garlic powder, and the salt. And then I didn't really measure the pepper, I just kind of grinded it in there, but it's probably like maybe a quarter teaspoon. I don't know. You can, of course, adjust the spices to suit what you like. You can put in more garlic or, you know, leave out the garlic, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this in. Give it another mix. And move on to the next step. You could have mixed this in with the almond flour ahead of time. I've done that before. But because I wanted to show you the dough before any of the seasonings was in, I did it separately. I think the last time I made it, I just put it in with the I put all the ingredients, I put all of the seasonings in with the almond flour. Alright, what you're going to do next is you need to use parchment paper. I'm going to be spreading this out into a large cookie sheet, but you need to be able to roll this in between two pieces of parchment. So I'm going to do it not in the cookie sheet, but just here on my counter. And then I will put that into the cookie sheet. This is kind of the tricky part. It does take a little bit of finagling. And it is very sticky. I had one time I made it and I couldn't get the top layer of parchment off. It just totally stuck to it. And in that case, if that happens, you just have to bake it with the parchment paper on top. But I have found that if you smooth it out a little bit with your spoon, try to flatten it out a bit, before you put the other piece on top. I found that if you give it a little bit of a spray, and I'm using coconut oil, if you give it a little bit of a spray before you put your parchment paper on top, it doesn't tend to stick when you try to pull that top layer of parchment off. This is very thick. This is going to roll out to be about like maybe a 1/4 inch thick of dough. Of course, if you like a thin pizza, you could divide this up. You could do a thin crust on 2 pie pans. I mean, whatever. I just kind of like a thicker crust. So I'm going to use a rolling pin here. And I'm just going to try to get it even and about the same dimensions of my cookie sheet. it's also really great to just bake it like this and then like cut it up into little strips and eat it like garlic bread. It's really good like that too. Alright, I think I'm close enough, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer this to my really old cookie sheet. And you can peel off your paper. Some of it's going to stick. This is the problem I have been having with this dough. It's either too sticky. Well, it's always too sticky. I'm really making this look very easy, aren't I? It does take some practice. I'll be honest. This is the fourth time I've made it. But it is very yummy and it is worth the effort, trust me. Alright, next thing you need to do is take a fork and score it so that it will bake evenly in the oven. So just randomly poke some holes in the dough. Alright, then you're going to put this in the oven and you're going to bake it for about 12 to 15 minutes or more, depending on your oven, obviously. Keep an eye on it, and you just want to bake it till it starts getting a golden brown. Alright, I'm going to put this in the oven and I'll meet you back here in about 15 minutes. Alright, let's go ahead and take a little quick peek here. Oh yeah, it's bubbling up a little bit, but it's starting to get brown, and that's what we're looking for. Just a couple more minutes. We have reached the educational portion of this video, and I would just like to give you a little background information on why this is called fathead dough. Do you remember in 2004 that movie documentary that came out called Super Size Me? Where that guy ate like 30 days at McDonald's and he ate like 5,000 calories, he said, a day, and he gained all this weight and everybody freaked out. In 2009, along came this guy named Tom Naughton. He is he calls himself a stand-up comedian and a sit-down writer. And he did a documentary to kind of dispute the claims in Super Size Me, and his movie was called Fathead, and it's on YouTube if you want to look it up and watch the video. It's like an hour and a half long. It's very entertaining. In his video, he talks about how that the claims in Super Size Me were false, and what we know about nutrition is incorrect. And he talks a lot more about it's not how much you eat, but it's what you eat, and really our bodies gain and lose weight as a result of insulin. Our hormones and insulin is a huge factor in how we gain or lose weight, and why some people can eat this food and not gain weight, and other people can eat this kind of food and they don't, or they do gain weight, and it's so frustrating. But it really comes down to our body's response to insulin, which is one reason why I have been on this ketogenic diet for about 3 months now. It's not really about losing weight, it's more about feeling better and being healthier, and all of the other benefits that come along with getting the sugar and the carbs out of your system. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tom Naughton. I'd never heard of him before. This guy, his oldest brother's oldest son created this fathead dough recipe, and I don't know what his name is because he's always referred to as the oldest brother's oldest son. And I will leave a link to that site in the description also, so if you're interested in checking it out. But anyway, he created this dough in response to the fathead video. So that's where it got its name. It doesn't mean that if you eat this you will get a fat head. So, I mean, hopefully not. So anyway, I thought I would just throw that in there in case you were interested, because I was curious and I wanted to know, so I looked it up myself. And now I have saved you the work of having to do that. Or I've educated you about something you could care less about. I mean, either way. Okay, and here it is. Here is the pie. Here is the pizza crust out of the oven. It was in the oven for about 12, I don't know, about 12 to 14 minutes. I wasn't timing it because I never use the timer. I always forget. So I just kept an eye on it, and you can see it's kind of browned in spots, and that's exactly what you want. You could keep it in a little longer if you wanted to, but I think this is perfect. After we put the toppings on it, we're going to put it back in the oven for another 7-8 minutes, or however long you want it, till the cheese melts, you know. So it is going to continue to bake a little bit longer. Now, from this point on, you are just going to top your pizza like you would top any regular pizza. So you just use whatever toppings you like the most. But I have heard that if you use enough vegetables, this does count as a salad. So I'm just putting that out there. All right. I'm going to be putting this pizza sauce I got at the Dollar Tree. I mean, anytime you can find stuff at the Dollar Tree is a good deal to me. I'm using this one because it is the lowest in sugars that I have found. Whoops, here you go. It is the Francesco Rinaldi brand, and it has 4 carbs and 1 gram of fiber for like a quarter of a cup. So that's 3 net carbs for a quarter cup. Yes, it does have some sugar, natural sugars in it, but it doesn't have any added sugar. So if you're on low carb or you're trying to watch your sugar, you definitely always want to check the ingredient list to make sure that there's no added sugar in it. I mean, of course, tomatoes have natural sugar, and that's fine. We just don't want any added sugars. So I'm going to go ahead and put on... I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to put on what I think. This is probably, there's probably like a half a cup in here. I'm going to put it really light because I am counting the carbs, but if that's not a concern to you, then, you know, don't worry about it. This pizza dough is so delicious. I mean, whether you are on... You know, whether you are on a low carb diet or if you're just trying to cut back on flours, or if you can't eat flour, if you're gluten free, this is perfect for a gluten free diet. I will say that it is not low in fat because it is quite a lot of cheese and cream cheese, but that's the beauty of the keto diet, that your body is using fats for fuel and not sugars and carbs for fuel. So you really want a higher level of fat in your diet, as long as it's natural fats, not like you don't want to use margarine or imitate, like, you know, canola oils, vegetable oils. You want to stay healthy fats. You want to use healthy fats. Okay, so I put a very thin layer of pizza sauce on it. Of course, you can add more, you know, totally to your taste. And then you're going to need some more mozzarella cheese, obviously, because what's a pizza without mozzarella cheese? You can also do like a white pizza. Do one of those Alfredo pizzas. Like, this dough works for just about any kind of pizza you want. Buffalo pizza. I've seen people do one of those BLT pizzas. Cheeseburger pizza. I mean, you can taco pizza. Like, whatever kind of pizza you can dream up, this works. This is teenager approved. I have fed this to my 18-year-old teenager who is very picky, and he loved it. Like, you cannot tell that this is not a traditional floured pizza dough. You just can't. I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's even better. It tastes more delicious. Alright, now I am going to use bacon, pepperoni, I've got some green peppers, I have regular onions, and I'm going to put on some black olives onto my pizza. Kept the onions in the fridge because they were making me cry. My favorite pizza topping is just pepperoni and onions. But I'm gonna go ahead and just put like a whole bunch on here. Okay, there it is. It is all topped and dressed and beautiful, and it looks wonderful and very Christmassy. I'm going to put this in the oven for about, I don't know, 8-9 minutes or whatever. I'm gonna keep an eye on it, watch for the cheese to melt. You know what to do. Here it is, all baked, ready to go, ready to be eaten. So I just go ahead and cut this, and then I let it cool off, and then I just store it in a container in the fridge, and I eat it at every opportunity that I have. This pizza heats up amazingly well. You probably can freeze it and store it that way if you made too much and you wanted to keep some. I don't know why you would want to ever keep it. You just eat it. But wait till you see this. Wait till you see this pizza. Here's about the size of the crust, as you can see. You could make it thinner. You could make it into a thin crust if you wanted to. I kind of like it like this. It holds up pretty well. It's hot, guys. It's hot. That was... Where are the napkins when you need them? That was very graceful. Look at that. So who says that you can't have pizza on a low carb diet? It is so good. You cannot tell that that is not a traditional crust. In fact, I think it tastes better. It has the exact flavor of pizza dough. It's delicious. And that will do it for this edition of my amateur cooking show. And I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, whatever it is you're doing and wherever it is you are. And I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!